right, what is going on, guys? We are back for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast, keeping up with the 2022 Dakar. Crews are now headed out as the countdown is winding down for the beginning of stage number 2 of the 2022 Dakar Rally. Stage 1 went down with some tricky navigation. A few of the big names struggling to get through the stage, and some unfortunately losing a lot of time, but still a long way to go. Lots can happen, that is for sure. That is the Dakar and how it works. So let's get straight into it. So stage 1, as we talked about yesterday, saw competitors travel 514 kilometers with a 333 kilometer special and 181 kilometers worth of liaison. Looking at the route map, it looks like they did have a little bit of a liaison in the morning and then once again in the afternoon. So a little bit of rain overnight led to wet sand and definitely some interesting moves. So let's look at the stage profile of yesterday's stage. That's again stage number 1 of the 2022 Dakar Rally. 81% sand, it looks like, according to... I'll turn that down here. So 81% sand, followed by a 14% dirt, 0 tarmac, 0 stones and rocks, 4% dunes, and then about 1% dry lake bed is what they were saying for yesterday's stage. So not a bad mixture there, but definitely not the strong suit if dunes were not your thing and sand is not your thing. Although with the rain, I'm sure it made it a little bit more manageable. Still not going to be an easy day. But the terrain was absolutely epic. A lot of great images coming from the stage. So I was absolutely stoked to see that. And so let's see here. So yeah, so as I mentioned, definitely some mix-up on the navigation. Everybody's saying about kilometer 260, high 250s, 260 is where they were starting to run into issues or ran into issues with some of the navigation. We saw a pretty big group of the big names trying to find their way, but were unable to do so, at least quickly. Skylar Howes did make it out of that group and get into it, ultimately finishing 10th on the stage with a time. Let's see here. Is it giving us a time? Let's go back and take a look at this. Waiting for these to load. Yes, I know it's not available. Here we go. All right. And the timing. So yeah, so let's see here. It shows, so this is interesting. So they do have Daniel Sanders as the stage winner. And then let's see, Skylar Howes showing at ninth, but actually officially on the stage with the overall standings ended up being 10th. You have, I believe it was Adrian Van Baren that was moved up, if I'm not mistaken. We'll take a look, or I'll take a look right now at the overall standings. But basically, Skylar Howes finishing 16 minutes out of the lead on that one. And then the surprise, the one that made up the time and really put his name up on the board, especially as a rookie, was Mason Klein. Mason Klein posting 8 minutes and 44 seconds behind the lead on stage number 1. So a hell of a way to open up the Dakar Rally and get that rally under his belt, get that first stage under his belt. And then, taking a moment, since we're talking about that, he did post an update earlier that I'm honestly going to say probably turned some heads as far as showing, what's going on in his head as he gets ready to take on the next stage and after today's result, which if you saw or are following him on social media, you would have seen he posted a picture or a small video after he was done. He took a gnarly rock to the front or something. It just absolutely smoked that wheel. But luckily he was able to finish the stage and obviously, put in the effort. But quoting Mason Klein here from one of his Instagram posts earlier in the day, he says, "I'm not here to send it. I'm here to finish. Today I just rode my bike and avoided making too many mistakes. My strategy for today was perfect navigation and to get to the finish. I lined up for a day of racing I'm sure I will never forget. Tomorrow, want to focus on line choices and being smooth. So very, very, very calm and collected post, I think, and reading in between the lines to me that is this kid's ahead of his time as far as, you put a 20-year-old on a bike, on a rally bike in the middle of the world, and the amount of control it takes to not want to send it and go out there and be the fastest and play smart. This is ahead. And in one of the interviews with the Dakar team, he did mention, and he did say that he feels like his mentor Skylar Howes has definitely had an influence on him on doing this. And if you listen to the episode that we did with Skylar Howes quite a few episodes ago, Skylar does talk about that, where he does say that the first years it was like he's in attack mode, and then transition slowly to I'm just going to ride and just make it happen and do my best, and the results followed that path as well. So he started ranking higher the more he relaxed and the more he just focused on the navigation and getting it done. So being in 10th, 16 minutes, Skylar Howes is in a really good position to continue. If he can continue with that, I feel like he's in the position. He's got fast guy lines in front of him. So he's got some line choices. He's got some stuff that he can do. So I think he'll be able to pull up and wrangle these guys in. So let's jump over to the actual standings for the stage. After that, let's see, here we go. Let's go into the bike standings here, not for qualifying. Okay, so here's what it looks like after stage one, your standings. So Daniel Sanders on the gas, 4 hours, 38 minutes, and 40 seconds is the official time at the moment. Pablo Quintanilla and is going to be in the second spot. He's going to be 3 minutes and 7 seconds behind Sanders. Matthias Wagner in that number 3 spot, going to be 11 minutes and 6 seconds behind Quintanilla. And then it's Adrian Van Baren in that number 4 spot on the Yamaha, 12 minutes and 46 seconds behind. And then Mason Klein sitting in 5th. He is going to be 14 minutes and 34 seconds behind the lead. And important to note, Mason Klein is not competing. This is overall standings. Mason Klein is in the GP2 class versus the MotoGP guys, or not MotoGP, the Rally GP. So the pros. So the Mason Klein again running one class under, but still showing 5th on the board, which is very impressive, and obviously P1 for his category. Then you've got Sam Sunderland on the gas, sitting in 6th, 15 minutes and 56 seconds behind. Santolino in the number 7 spot, 16:54 behind. Xavier Del Soltre in the number 8 spot on a HT Rally Raid Husqvarna Racing. Going to be 18 minutes and 36 seconds behind. Ross Branch in that number 9 spot, again on a Yamaha, 19 minutes and 21 seconds. And then Skylar Howes in the number 10 spot on the Husqvarna Factory Racing, 25 minutes and 12 seconds behind. So, again, that's your top 10. Mare in that 11th spot. He's in the Hero Motorsports team. Zvitko in that 12th spot with Slovanaft Rally team. Kind of hard to pronounce, probably, but butchered that one. And then on the Dakar review debut is Daniel Petrucci. From MotoGP fame, now in and participating in the Dakar. He's got that rookie flag on there. 33 minutes and 29 seconds behind. So let's see here. What else have we got? And those are posted stage times. Kevin Benavides, 14th. Mayo, 15th. Nosagla Jagar, 16th. 17th, Beretta Bort. Then you've got... let's see, Jay Brayback, 43.32. He's in 18th. Andrew Short running in that 19th with 45 minutes and 26 seconds back. Moving down the list, Toby Price, one of the guys caught out on that kilometer 260 entanglement. Let's see, 47.17 back. And then let's see, keep going here. Nacho Cornejo in that 26th spot, 53.24. And then it keeps scrolling down here a little bit more. We got Ricky Brayback, 35th, 1 hour and 16 back. So definitely a tough day for Brayback and a few of the big names Luciano Benavides in that 38th spot, 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 31 seconds back. So, again, it was definitely tough for these guys to get it. Some of the people are already kind of talking about, this may be it for the Dakar. But it is a long way back around. So hopefully, things change and we get some stuff updated and guys are able to make up some time. But yeah, absolutely thoroughly impressed with Mason Klein's performance, getting up and putting fifth up on the board there, ahead of Sam Sunderland. And then tomorrow, which will be interesting. So based on these times, it looks like he's going to have at least 3 or 4 fast guys in front of him, giving him line choices as there. So those that play the home game in rally, so previous day's finishing order determines next day's starting order. When you see your favorites sometimes hanging out at the back and not really jumping up, that could be part of the strategy in where they're actually trying to calculate and not be the first one out on the road, especially if it's in an area or after the briefing they see that, well, I should say after the briefing, not much you can do at that point because it's too late. You already crossed the line. The starting order is pretty much determined. So the best thing is if you got an idea where you're headed, the area you're going, that kind of thing, or even just by stages, it's still early in the game. It's still, you don't want to lose a lot of time, but you want to be competitive. So where you finish and where you're starting is a very important decision to make right now. Because yes, they do actually have an influence on where they're finishing, and it's, I guess, a little bit of a guessing game in how much time you need to quote unquote lose in order to get to where you want to be. But we'll see how it shakes down. But for day one, this is a pretty good mix up in the top 10. Happy to see Skylar Howes again and Mason Klein both in that top 10, alongside a few of the fast guys of Dakar that have been there for many a years. So what do we have going on? All right, so coming up tomorrow, and actually let's jump over to that and find out here. Let's click on this live button here. And this app was down pretty much all day, which kind of sucked, but I can only imagine how many people are trying to get in on this. So let's see here. Stage 2 is 31 minutes away and 30 seconds from the start. So those alerts are probably going to be coming through soon. So let's take a look at what we got going on for the stage today. Let's go back up to this. Not that one. All right. Just a second here. We'll find it. I'll go ahead back there. All right. So for today's stage, Hayil to Al Artawiya. Now, forgive me, I probably butchered that, but I'm doing the best I can here. So, all right. So stage 2 consists of 568 kilometers, so another long day, 338 kilometers of special, and 230 kilometers of liaison. So once again, breaking that down, 568 kilometers is going to be the total distance traveled from bivouac to bivouac. 338 of those kilometers are going to be actual racing, so that's going to be what you get on your time, on your clock, what gets added to your total time for the rally. And then on the liaison is 230 kilometers, meaning that is what the distance is going to be between the bivouac, the start line, the finish line, and then the bivouac once again. So that is your liaison. Those are the non-timed sections. But there is sometimes navigation within those. Certain points you may have to pick up. But more importantly, there's things like speed zones, obeying local laws, that kind of thing. So there's room to get penalties there as well. Most of these teams got it dialed in. They know they're racing, so it's really not that big a deal. But if you get caught off guard, it could be bad. So let's see. So that was, let's see if they're going to do. So stage 2, let's see if they're catching up now. It looks like, all right, cool. So they did actually update it today to give us a little bit of insight on the actual rally. So yes, they are going to have a short liaison in the morning to the DSS, Depart Special Stage. And then they'll do their 333 kilometer or 338. And then they have their ASS, Arrive Special Stage, near, it looks like in the area of Riyadh. And then ultimately the liaison is going to drop them off at Al Artawiya. Once again, I'm probably butchering that name, but doing my best. Okay, so let's go look at the stage profile. Stage profile for today, we are looking at 63% sand. So here we go again. So for those that isn't their strength being in the sand, today could be another challenging day. Although with the rain and the wet sand, it may actually make it a little bit easier, a little bit more manageable for these guys. From there, we've got about 10% that's actually going to be dirt, soil, and then 0-0 on the stones and tarmac, and then 27% dunes. So sand and dunes looks like the recipe for today's 338 kilometer special. Looks like it's pretty much all mixed in. They get a little bit of dirt here and there, mostly sand, and then they get into the dunes and sand and dunes, and then a little bit of dirt at the end. So if the dirt is your actual strong suit, today may not necessarily be your stage, but we'll see how it shakes down. Once again, we're down to about 30 minutes before the start of the stage. Let's check out the stage description. This is direct from the Dakar app. Lo and behold, the first chains of dunes in this edition, which will set the tone for the 2022 Dakar and provide the first opportunity for contenders for the overall title to move to the front. So that's interesting there, and that's exactly what is going on. You've got a few guys, the top 10, a lot of fast guys in that top 10, right in that position where this is where they could kind of start to break out. From there, however, trying to blow up the race on the first day of the marathon stage is a risky proposition, as once the sun goes down, the riders and drivers and crew will only be able to count on the assistance of their peers inside the service park. So that is a very interesting part due to the weather. And I saw a picture. It looked like the bivouac for the marathon stage was actually underwater. So it's my understanding that on the marathon stage that they had planned is actually not going to happen. And they are actually just going to have a regular bivouac, no marathon. So while we're on the subject of marathon stages, let's talk about it really quick. So marathon stage, for those playing the home game, marathon stage is very simple. It's basically everybody is Malimoto for the day or for the night. So in the case of the bikes, you're going to take your motorcycle and you're going to race your stage. You're going to go to a bivouac. Generally there is no assistance for competitors other than yourself and your teammates or other peers within there. And it's a rally family. If you've been in the bivouac, you can kind of see, everybody kind of helps each other out. This is a competitive event, so they may not be the first one to give up something, but, at least they could help. So from there, you get into, once you have your marathon stage, is basically prep the bike, you get a certain amount of time, you get a certain amount of parts, that kind of thing. And then that's it. You got to work on your own bike. You got to do your own thing. And then once that's done, bike's parked for May, done, camped out for the night. Next morning, you race back to the bivouac, back to where you have your actual full support. So again, there are 2 marathon stages for the 2022 Dakar Rally, but it looks like the first one is actually going to be canceled due to weather. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there was some strategy playing into that, tire conservation, things like that. It could get a little bit dicey, in playing the game, right? You want to make sure you have a solid bike, getting to it, so it's less work, but then also you don't want to fall behind. And then the next day you want to make sure you give it your all to make sure, because you're headed home to where your techs are, where everybody that can help you and work, and you have more assistance. So this should definitely be interesting. I'm a fan of the marathon stages. I think it's a very interesting concept. I think that it is it puts a little bit of pressure on teams to work together and try and help each other out. So we'll see how it shakes down. So we are just minutes away now. We're going to be in that 20-minute mark. Let's take a look here at the official counter. 27 minutes and 40 seconds to the start of stage number 2 of the 2022 Dakar. So before we go any longer, let's go ahead and close this up, but let's give you those specs one more time for stage 2 of the 2022 Dakar. 568 kilometers total, 338 kilometers of special, and then 230 kilometers of liaison. That is stage number 2. So while we're asleep, those guys will be running. So that is a wrap for today's update on this one. Stay tuned tomorrow. We are going to have another update right around this time as well. It'll be publicized hopefully right before the stage starts, and you guys will be able to check it out. And also, tomorrow morning, we are going to have another episode uploading. It's another In the Bivouac, this time around with none other than Gnarly Dave. So if you guys want to check that out on your commute to the morning, I will make sure that thing is uploaded and ready to go for your 6 a.m. commute of the new year. All right, that is a wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you heard. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others. Also, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook under Chasing Waypoints, Instagram Chasing Waypoints _official, and of course, the YouTube under Chasing Waypoints. Hope everybody has a good week. We will see you guys for the next episode. Remember, shiny side up, and don't forget to tag us. We want to see where you guys are riding and what you guys are up to. Have a great week.